You may be familiar with some of the ways people learn. The visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, the VAK way of learning. I refer to this as a formal way of learning. If you are not familiar, then I'll breeze through it. Visual is learning by seeing, auditory is learning by hearing and listening, and kinesthetic is learning by doing. You can learn in all three ways, but one is your dominant learning style. Most people are visual learners, the minority are auditory and kinesthetic learners. However, I'm not going to go over this system of learning. If you are interested, you may find information on your own. When I was a senior in high school, my physics teacher told the class one thing that stuck with me. People learn through three ways if it costs them pain, money, and or time. You see, people can forget about the things they see, hear, and do. However, people don't usually forget the things that hurt them, the money they spent, and the time they've wasted. Do you remember the first time someone hurt you? Do you remember when someone tricked you into buying something that did not work as advertised? Do you remember the time you wasted your time on someone or something because you were expecting more from it? The pain, money, and time system, the PMT system, is the natural way of learning. It is usually not the best way to learn, but it is the most definite way to learn. For some people, it may be the only way to learn. PMT can be referred to as the payment system because PMT is the common acronym for payment. Payment suits PMT because you learn after the fact, instead of the progressive way of learning you have with the more formal visual, auditory, and kinesthetic system of learning. You only learn after it hurts you, costs you money, or wastes your time with PMT. So it is like you paid for a lesson. So what's the cheapest payment for a lesson? Let's analyze this. Number 1. Pain. Pain means learning from pain and suffering, either physical or mental. Do you remember the first time when someone broke your heart? Do you remember how you got that scar on your body? The time we accidentally fell? The time someone we trusted betrayed us? And the time we did something embarrassing or shameful? We all walk around with mental and physical scars. It is natural to learn from pain, but it is also one of the harshest way to learn. Number 2. Money. Money is learning when it costs you financial penalties, strife, or hardships. Do you remember your first traffic or parking ticket? Do you remember the time when someone tricked you into buying something that was too good to be true? Does someone still owe you money now? Most of us have been swindled one way or another before. It is horrible to see money wasted, especially when it is yours. Most people do not have much money to spend, yet alone spare. So paying with money for a lesson is something most people cannot afford. Even if they can afford it, they will probably want to use the money on something else. Paying with money is cheaper than paying with pain since money should be easier to replenish than health. Money is arguably more expensive than time as well. We'll see why. Number 3. Time. Time is learning when it wastes your time. Do you remember the time you've worked hard and waited on something like a promotion or raise that you have been expecting? Do you remember the time you've wasted in a toxic relationship that would eventually crumble anyways? Many people say time is money. Well, time is everything, since time is directly correlated with everything in life. You are paying with time right now if you are listening to this. The thing is, money cannot create additional time, although it can rent more free time. Time is the cheapest way to learn in the PMT system solely because it is the one that we can somewhat directly control. You can try to control your emotions and salary, but it is less effective than managing your time. Paying with time effectively has a high return on investment. Think, if you would spend more time doing more productive things, such as improving yourself or working smarter, you might possibly get a promotion or accomplish something you have been putting in the back burner, which would entail a financial and or emotional reward. Many people have that "I don't have time for this" mentality. That is the worst mentality you can have because you are lying to yourself and lying to others. Unless you are president of a country or CEO of a company, you have time. The average person wastes a lot of time watching TV and doing other unproductive things. Even at work we waste time. Time is something we can open up if we manage it more effectively. If we use our time effectively and efficiently, we can make more money. If we have more money, the more free time we can rent. The more free time we can rent means we can do more of the things we enjoy, therefore reducing our pain and increasing our wealth. You're probably wondering what's the point of all this and why am I telling you about the PMT system? Imagine, what if an older you came back from the future and gave you advice on how to approach your life? What kind of advice and stories would an older you tell yourself? I'm sure you would have told yourself all the PMT payments you have made, all the mistakes and regrets and things that you should avoid and need to do now. You see, I don't want to have to pay for lessons that other people have already learned. I do not want to hurt and waste my money and time on something that has already been experienced and overcome by someone else. Do you want to pay more for something that has already been paid for? The natural way of learning, the PMT system, is too slow and costs too much. For most people, By the time that they have learned how to effectively approach life and learn about the things that would truly make them happy, it is too late. People are older by that time, and they have other more urgent things in their life to worry about. They have mortgages, car loans, and family and other matters to tend to. The average person pays a huge PMT amount for a lesson that could have been learned for less. Most people do first, think later, and pay more. The problems that we are having now and will have later in our life, someone out there went through the same problem. The scenario and circumstances will be different, but the silver lining is still the same. Other people's experiences are archived on the internet, in books, and in their memories. All we have to do is spend the time to search and ask for it. As mentioned before, time is the cheapest way we can pay for a lesson. We might not truly learn the full lesson, but we will have an understanding and grasp of the lesson before we approach the problem. The point is, you are going to pay for experiences and valuable lessons in your life anyways. Why not try to save on the PMT amount you will make to gain those experiences and lessons? Gather knowledge by reading substantial books, listening to older and more experienced people, and critically thinking and analyzing for yourself. The more you know, the better and more efficiently you can overcome obstacles. Pay with time now, or pay with pain, money, and time later.